Hey y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope, and welcome to day 30 of Icad. I'm showing you a little star on the back of my card because I have recorded this ahead of time. I am out of town at the moment and knew that there was no way while I was out of town I could do my iCAD and get videos up and all of those things. So for yesterday and the next couple days, I'll be having these done ahead of time. But I'm doing that for many reasons, for you so that you'll have my iCAD each day, and as well for me so that I don't have to catch up when I get back. So it's good for all of us. So what is iCAD? It means Index Card a Day. It is the brainchild of Tammy Garcia. She is known as Daisy Yellow. That's her website, or you can find her as Gypsy999 on Instagram. Now, all you have to do for iCAD is take an index card, either a prefab size or one you make yourself, and throw some mixed media at it. Tammy provides some weekly themes and daily prompts if you need a little nudge with yours, or if you like strictly working with that for a challenge, or you can go promptless. My friend Nina Fickett also has some mixed media iCAD prompts. And sometimes I use the prompts and sometimes I don't. It depends on how they catch me each day. So on this day, day 30, the two prompts, the Daisy Yellow prompt was magical, and the mixed media iCAD prompt is titanium white. And I'm totally using both of those. So, the extra challenge I have given myself this year for iCAD is to try to use my scrap boxes, my stuff from my scrap boxes, and not make more scraps. I will admit that I may have made a little bit of extra scrap with this one, but it was because I absolutely had a vision of what I wanted to do for this magical prompt. So, here is all my scraps glued down using my Uhu glue stick, just like this. And the next thing I think I'm going to do, I'm going to trim all this off, and then I'm going to grab, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab a 3x5 Jelly Arts jelly plate and some Distress Oxides. Let me grab them off of my desk so I know which ones I have there so I can tell you what the colors are. All right, so there's that gel plate, and I have pulled out what is it? Abandoned Coral, Fossilized Amber, and Broken China are the first three. I've got a couple more we'll be bringing in a little bit. But I decided I wanted to do kind of a rainbow on the card. So I put down the Fossilized Amber first in the middle, and then the Abandoned Coral at the top and the Broken China at the bottom. Just, again, those are kind of primary-ish colors, so they will blend together fairly well. I know the Abandoned Coral is more of a corally orange, but I like that more than I like a pink. So yeah, that's what I went with. Now here I'm bringing in some titanium white acrylic ink. This is the Lucas brand, and basically I'm going to use it to help blend these Distress Oxides out. Now sure, I could have stamped those Distress Oxides straight onto my card, and that might have worked, but I think I got a little bit of consistency since I was able to blot those on to the jelly plate and get them on there than if I had just tried to do it on the card. So either, if you don't have a jelly plate, work with what you have. Don't, I could have used an acrylic block just as well, or like I said, just stamp straight onto the card with those ink pads. So I am blending this out. For some reason, that 3x5 card misses the edges a little. So I'm making sure that those for sure get blended out. I cleaned up that because I know I will drag something through that paint on my desk. So I picked that up real quick. And I'm going to dry this card super quick. I'm trying to remember what I had a vision for this card. And this step here was not part of that vision. But once I got this all dry, I needed some marks on there, some kind of texture, because it's really lacking in texture at this point. And so I grabbed one of my hand-carved eraser stamps. I'll put a link up in this upper right corner to my video about how I make my stamps. And this one has got a rainbow feel to it. It also has like a fingerprint feel, but whatever. And I'm using, what is that? Again, it is Seedless Preserves Distress Oxide, and I put that on the card because I didn't have any purple for my rainbow, so I thought, or violet for my rainbow, so I thought that'll be perfect. And so I'm trying to get these distress oxides take a while to dry. So I did hit it with the heat gun and try to blot it off because the next thing I want to do is some embossing. I found, or I remembered that in my stash I had this American Crafts stamp set. With unicorns and rainbows and stars, and it's yeah, and it's got a big stamp that says magical on it. And since that's the prompt, I thought it'd be kind of perfect. So I am just using some of the Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide in one of the little Starburst stamps from that set. And I'm stamping around on the card. Now I'm going to add some embossing powder to this, and I thought that maybe the pink background would help show through because the embossing powder I'm using is called Stardust, which I thought, yeah, magical, perfect. And y'all, I can't tell you what brand or anything that is. I inherited a bunch of embossing powder from my brother-in-law's mother and my sister-in-law, and just people give me craft supplies all the time, so I don't even know where. But do you see what happened? I tried to put that on top of my stars, and somehow that embossing powder stuck to everything. I don't know. I thought maybe it was the the other distress oxide it was sticking to, but looking at it, it's just like it's stuck to everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat it. I mean, I could have tried brushing it all off and starting over again, but I thought I wanted a magical feel to this. I am totally going to get a sparkly magical feel to this card. So I'm heating that embossing powder up so it sticks, because I know that I'm gonna come in with yet another one of the Starburst stamps from here and the Distress Oxide in Black Soot. Now I could have used an embossing pad, but I found that, I think it was last year or the year before, I found out that Distress Oxides work fine for embossing. So I just figured I'd go ahead and go with that because I like them. So I've stamped this other Starburst around here, and I've got a second embossing powder. It's called Lapis Lazuli, but it's black with like shiny, sparkly, glittery stuff in it too. So I don't know. So I'm putting that down, and then I'll shake it off, and it does much better. I have one star that's a little iffy, and I think it's partly because it's definitely on top of some of that previous embossing powder. So I'm cleaning this up a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and heat this as well and let that embossing powder do its thing. So if you need more information about embossing powder or whatever, I know I haven't gone over it a whole lot, let me know. It's not something I play with a lot, but for some reason the other day I mentioned that would be fun to do some embossing on one of my cards. This isn't quite the technique I had in mind, but yeah, I may still do the technique I was thinking of. So I've pulled up that magical stamp and pulled out some of my stays on, and I've got a piece of vellum. So this is where I've created more scraps, y'all. The one exception, I really wanted to use a piece of vellum in this, and I knew I didn't have any in my scrap box. And y'all, this isn't even like a regular piece of vellum. It's an envelope I tore apart because I don't have any regular vellum in my stash. And so I just used the stays on to stamp onto the vellum. And I realized right about there that the A on there is kind of, yeah, broken. But it's okay. You can still read it. I got it at Tuesday morning on clearance. I'm okay with it. So I decided I want to use this jelly roll pen, which is one of my favorite things, or my favorite jelly rolls. And it is, I think it's their Stardust Pen, and it basically writes in glitter. I had a little trouble getting it started because it's been a while since I've used it. But y'all, I'm all about what I call, or what I've heard called, safe glitter, where it's enclosed in something like inside an embossing powder in this pen, or where, because glitter in itself gets everywhere and makes me a little crazy. So I don't use glitter a whole lot in my arts unless I know it's going to be sealed in something somehow. So yeah. So I like that pen that adds a little glitter, but it's not really glitter. Yeah. So I have stamped that, and I went over the word with that jelly roll pen, and then I decided I needed to frame up this card, so I'll use that black soot. But I want to make this a little grungy. This card in itself doesn't feel very much like me at all, even though I made it. but it's what kind of I envisioned when I thought magical. So, yeah, I guess maybe it's still me. So I decided to, yeah, I not activate, but kind of just made that a little bit more grungy on the sides. And then I'm like, y'all, I haven't added any splatters, and I need some splatters on this. So I grabbed titanium white. So here we go with another titanium white. That's the Liquitex acrylic ink. I watered it down a little, and I'm just going to do some splatters on top of everything. I was a little worried about this drying on top of that layer of that Stardust embossing powder, but it does all right. So I got it dry as I could and then blotted it up just in case some of it was still kind of wet. And I decided that Distress Oxide, when I activated it, got real muddied and kind of gray. So I wanted it to darken it back up. So I rubbed it around again. And now I'm going to just use my Uhu glue stick on that vellum. I know how touchy vellum can be with um, adhesive, so I'm going to weigh that down real quick and then come back and show y'all what it looks like when it's dry. All right. It is pretty magical. So I hope you like this. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks y'all for watching. Bye.